So, you've probably heard the buzz. Prime Minister Narendra Modi dropped a pretty big bombshell recently, promising the nation a double Diwali. Sounds great, right? But what does that actually mean for your wallet? Well, that's what we're here to unpack. We're going to dive deep into this massive GST reform that could literally change the price of everything from your groceries to your next car.
And this is where it all started. That's the Prime Minister himself, framing one of the biggest tax reforms since, 2017? And he's not calling it some complex policy shift. Nope, he's calling it a festive gift to the people of India. So, the billion-dollar question really is, what's inside the box?
Okay, so let's talk about this gift. What exactly are we looking at? It's basically a complete overhaul of the goods and services tax framework. GST. The government's even given it a cool name, NextGen GST. And the whole idea, the big goal, is to radically simplify India's entire tax system. And this is the heart of it, right here. Take a look. On the one hand, you've got our current system, 5 different tax slabs. It's kind of confusing, and it definitely leads to a lot of arguments. The new plan, it simplifies things a lot. We're talking about going down to just 3 core rates. That means potentially getting rid of the 12% and 28% slabs completely. And that new 40% slab you see, yeah, you can bet that's going to be for luxury stuff or so-called sin goods.
So really, the name of the game here is simplification. It's pretty straightforward, right? Fewer tax slabs mean less confusion for everyone. It means fewer arguments over what gets taxed at what rate. And, it gets the whole system a lot closer to that original dream of one nation, one tax.
Okay, let's get to the part we all really care about. How does this actually impact your wallet? What's going to get cheaper? Let's talk money.
Well, the answer is a lot, actually, or at least potentially. We're not just talking about small things. We're talking about daily use items and those bigger purchases you save up for. Think about it. Packaged foods, currently taxed at 12%, could drop all the way down to 5%. And then you've got the big ticket items, ACs, refrigerators, even their next smartphone. All of them could see some pretty significant price cuts. And just look at the scale of these cuts we're talking about. It's pretty significant. Take white goods, for instance, your TVs, fridges, that kind of thing. They could drop from a whopping 28% tax slab all the way down to 18%. And smartphones? Their tax rate could get cut by more than half, going from 12% down to just 5%. I mean, these aren't just minor tweaks, right? This is a big deal, and it's all designed to put more money right back into your pocket.
So let's put that in perspective. That drop from 28% to 18% for white goods, that could mean you save up to 10% on the final price tag. And on an expensive TV or a new fridge, that is a very real discount.
But wait, it gets even better. Let's talk about the auto sector, because this is where the numbers start to get, truly staggering. The potential savings we're about to see are big enough to completely shake up the entire market.
Get this, a potential price cut of up to 1 lakh rupees on some of the most popular compact SUVs out there, like the Tata Nexon or the Hyundai Venue. 1 lakh.
And it's not just SUVs. Think about popular hatchbacks, like the Swift. You could be looking at savings of around 80,000 rupees.
Even for the entry-level car, say like an Alto, the price drop could be somewhere around 50,000 rupees. You add all that up, and you can see how this could trigger a massive shakeup across the entire car market.
Okay, so lower prices on everything sounds absolutely fantastic, right? A win-win. But you knew there was a but coming, didn't you? Like with any huge reform, there are some serious complexities and some very, very big unanswered questions that could, change everything.
And here it is, the single biggest catch. It's called the compensation cess. Now, what is that? It's basically an extra tax that gets slapped on top of the GST for cars. So here's the problem. While the plan is to drop the main GST on small cars from 28% down to 18%, the government has been completely silent on what it's going to do with this extra cess. And that leaves us with some really critical questions, doesn't it? I mean, what if the government lowers the GST with one hand, but then just hikes up the cess with the other, completely wiping out all those savings we just got excited about? And what happens to electric cars? Right now, they have a really low 5% GST. Could they get bumped up into the 18% slab, suddenly making them way more expensive? You see? These are the little details that will decide what really happens.
Now, to get why the government might be hesitating, just look at this number. If they only drop the GST on small cars to 18% and don't touch the cess,
We're talking about a potential revenue loss of around 10,000 crore rupees every single year. That's over $1 billion. It's a huge hole in the budget.
So what you have here is a classic battle between the heart and the mind, right? Your heart is saying, yeah, lower the prices, boost the economy, make everyone happy. But your mind, the more practical side, is asking a much tougher question. Hang on, can the government really afford to lose this much tax money? And that, right there, is the central dilemma of this entire reform.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. The promise of a double Diwali is incredibly exciting. No doubt about it. The potential benefits for all of us are huge. But with these big wildcards, like the compensation cess, still completely up in the air, the ultimate question is this. Once this gift is finally unwrapped, are we going to get the real savings we're all hoping for? Or will the fine print just leave us holding an empty box? I guess we'll just have to wait and see.